Hello, everyone. Welcome to my corner. We're going to discuss a book by Lisa C. Called Shanghai Girls about two sisters, who were from a wealthy family and they fell to the bottom. And this is how they view the world and how they navigate the experiences that and opportunity that they're given. Um, I feel like this book is really tragic, really sad. Uh, Mm, it's very tragic and sad. So if you guys are looking for something a little bit upbeat, maybe this is not the story for you. However, I also want to put a disclaimer out there that I will be speaking from first person perspective, Per's perspective to be exact. And there are things that she's feeling or she's going through which may not align with your belief, but I think that we should acknowledge that this is her experience, and it's not coming from a place of hatred or ignorance. Rather, it's coming a place from experiencing things firsthand. And there's a lot of beauty, a lot of raw beauty that comes with those emotions. We're gonna try to think about this critically instead of like just like jumping on any hate train. Um, yes. So I hope you guys enjoy. Hola, hola. Today I'm going to tell you a story about two sisters who live in Shanghai, based on the book Shanghai Girls by Lisa C. Okay. The story starts out with her telling us her earliest memory was her parents complaining about how she looks. They were complaining that her skin is too dull. So they went and they bought her some cream to rub all over her body and face, so she can become more light skinned, like her name, her. And they also had her consume from a young age her powder. Hopefully that will help her with the complexion. But her skin never lightens up, contrary to her name. And then we flash forward to her present. It's 1937 in Shanghai. And she's having dinner with her family, mother, father, and little sister, at this round table in their garden. It's a circular table, no corners, to represent forever unity. The two girls are pretty oblivious to what is happening in their surrounding, but their house used to have chandeliers, ceiling fans, servants, arts. But that night, while they're eating, there was none of that. This is how you can tell that they're rich. This was back in 1937, and she's consuming her powder, you know, just because her family can afford it. And instead of ceiling fans, her dad had replaced it with actual servants. He liked the look of them, just like physically fanning them. But, that day it was hot and none of the servants were there to help. So the mom was complaining how the food isn't fresh enough because she can smell it. Like she can smell that the shrimp and the fish had gone bad. But in actuality, it's her feet that stinks. Um, Not a fault of her own, but her feet was were binded. So it was like bruising and bleeding and stuff like that, and the bandages weren't changed. So, and with the heat as well, you can smell it. It's a very strong stench. And of course, Dad is complaining about how stupid I am. Oh, he's always calling me stupid. It's a normal thing. This is all from her perspective. It's a normal thing. An educated woman is considered stupid because, what can they do? They can't cook, clean, help around the house. What you gonna do? Read a book if there is ever an issue? So yeah, and I don't like being around him. Another reason is that I am taller than him, so when I'm around him, I will have to slump down. Like, you don't want to emasculate the man of the household, you know. And then there's my sister. Her name is May. She's 3 years younger, 18, 18 years old at that time. I'm 21. And I'm a pretty obedient, quiet daughter. And I'm just sitting there listening to either my dad calling me stupid or my mom complaining. My mom, she's like the ideal Chinese female citizen. Like, she was born into a wealthy family. She married off well. And all she really does is she lollygag and gossip around with other people in her social circles and her servants. Like, her life is good, but she's always complaining about health, how nothing's gonna go well. She's so freaking pessimistic for a woman that is so privileged. I never understand it. And that night, per usual, May and I were eating, we're done, and we're about to head out to party the night away. Like, it's 1937, but our parents aren't really controlling or strict because we are girls. They were like, you're going to marry off anyway. You bring nothing to the family. You're worthless. So do what you want. So we're going to go out party. But that night, dad was like, no partying. And he was like, stay home. And, I'm not the type to argue. So I let May do all the work. She's like, yeah, no, we're going to do what we want. We're going to party. Okay. We're going to do what we want. We're going to go and party. And back then, it's like taboo for different genders to like touch in any way. But she's like, her go-to finessing move is like, rub dad on the shoulder. And she was like, okay, dad, we're going to go out now. And it worked. He's usually very speechless when she's talking. Everyone loves May. She's just so bubbly, cute, beautiful. I don't know anyone that doesn't like May. Okay. We live in an area that's pretty diverse. The Chinese people, the local people love May. The foreigners love May, as in like the Japanese and the British people. She's a very, very popular young woman. Anyway, so she did all that, and then she walked. Okay, she struck her way into upstairs to our room, and I just followed behind. Okay, like the pussy that I am, just follow my little sister. And then we went up there and we got changed into our beautiful dresses. Okay, beautiful dresses and shoe. We want to make sure we look good, because we're models. And in their room, there's like plenty of posters of the both of them because they are models and they make a little money from that as well. But dad took our money. He said he's gonna save it for our future marriages. Anyway, we went out, we party, and I get to see my crush. His name is ZG, but we're gonna call him Z from now on. So I'm happy to, be with friends, and then we model a bit for Z. Then we came home, and then we got slapped in the face with the worst news ever. Dad was like, I've arranged a marriage for both of you guys. You guys are gonna get married to Chinese American. Yeah, but you know what's the good part is that you guys are going to be married into the same family. So you guys will always be together. Brothers. And being the obedient daughter, I'm not gonna be like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I was just like, why? How did this even come about? You know? But May, on the other hand, she was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Who do you think you are and who do you think I am? Okay. So Dad told us that night that he had lost everything. Okay. And this is a very wealthy family in those days. Like, this is how wealthy they are. He owned a rickshaw business. I always thought it was shady, but I'm never gonna question or say anything. Um, he owned a rickshaw business. He went from rags to riches. It's one of those stories. And they're so rich that my sister and I will be sent to the mountain for in the summer for vacation just because it's too hot here in the city. Okay. We've had English tutors since we were kids. Um, and I even have the opportunity to go to college and graduate, but May opt out of it. And a very important part of the story is that Per knows 3 languages while May knows 2. So May knows the main Chinese and English, while Per knows that the main Chinese, English, and a third one. We're going to call it Yup. And is very important um, down the line in the story that Per know an additional language. Okay, so he was like, you guys are gonna get married. It's either that or you guys are gonna be prostitutes because I've lost everything. I've lost the family business, I've lost the house, and I basically sold you guys, okay? Because I had a gambling issue. I sold you guys to old man Louis. You guys are going to be his daughter-in-laws to his 2 sons. And after marriage, like, yeah, they're a wealthy family. You're gonna be well taken care of. You're gonna have servants to take care of you and clean for you, okay? So don't worry too much about that. Um we have no money left. The savings that I'm supposed to save for you are gone as well. So, get married or be a prostitute. And I'm just like so speechless just because I thought I'm this modern woman, modern advanced woman, but here I am stuck with the same destiny as other Chinese women, to either get married, be a servant to that household, or be a prostitute. Those are my only 2 options. Um So I told him that I'm not going to get married to someone I don't know. Okay. So the very next day, he arranged a date for us. The 4 of us are going to meet. And even though I didn't say much, I'm pretty heartbroken. I'm, I'm always thinking about Z. Always. Even on our date to meet our husbands, he's all I could think about. So that day, we're scheduled to meet our 2 husbands on the ghetto part of the city, um, in the ghetto part of Shanghai. I know of that part, but I've never been there. They're usually filled with beggars, rundown cities, poor people in general, okay? Why would I never need to be there? And it stink as well. Smell like piss. And when I was walking through it, there was this, like, it was dripping water on like a clear day. It was dripping water because people are hanging their clothes out the window, and it smells. Those people, some of them are like mom. They had their feet are binded as well, so the bandages are just out in the open for drying, washed and open, washed, and hung for drying. And the other interesting thing about the beggars are most of them have self-inflicted injury. They're like either missing a limb or even an eye, or like they will have broken arms and legs, and they did it on purpose to get sympathy from, the donors. And FYI, this is a practice that's very still active today, um, where people are injuring themselves or their family members so that they can get more pity donation. Um, this one time I went to this one country, real life, and not as the character. I was told not to give those people money because it will only encourage those bad practices and behavior. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, to be honest. I mean, it's like a double-edged sword. You kind of want to help out, but you're helping out, a really bad cause. Anyway, so we met the two husbands. Their names are Sam, and Vern. Sam is my fiance, okay? He's probably like 23, 24 at that time. And Vern is only 14. I have so many different feelings at that time, but like 14 though. I mean, 14 is a pretty uh, normal age to get married in that time period, at that time period. Because it's basically as soon as you hit puberty, your parents are gonna set you up to get married. If you're a girl, like they want you out the household as soon as possible. Um, so on this date, only three of us were talking, if you can call it that. Three out of the four, Sam, Vern, and I, because we know the third language that I mentioned earlier. The three of us can speak and understand yup. And I had to translate to May. She doesn't understand anything. Um, we, the both of us, Sam and I, we weren't really enthusiastic about the whole marriage thing, but we're pretty polite to each other. And when we kept it, cordial and short, and then afterward, May was complaining to me. She was like, I don't want Vern, okay? Can we at least trade? Can we at least trade husband? I mean, I feel bad for her, but no. I feel bad for her, but no. And at the same time, I could only think about Z. So as soon as the date is over, I legit ran to Z. I was like thinking in my mind that he's gonna comfort me, he's gonna hold me tight and tell me everything's gonna be okay, and we're gonna run away together into the sunlight. But when I saw him, and I told him the whole entire story, he was like, you should get married to this guy. Sounds like a decent guy. And what else are you going to do? And you have a duty to your family. You know, you have a duty to take care of your family. And, that was just like stabs to my heart. I was so heartbroken. I was like, my eyes were like covered in tears. And I'm just trying to make my way out of his place and go down the stairs and go home. Like I was like, I couldn't see because that's how bad I was crying. Anyway, I went home and I told my sister May, um, and I cried that entire night. And May was like, "Oh my God, I had no idea you had feelings for him. Oh my God, I'm so sorry." What happened next is the freaking wedding. It was so freaking romantic. It's just us, the grooms, my father-in-law, old man Louis, and my two parents. And we're at the courtroom signing papers. That was it. Ain't it romantic? And then we went to dinner, and then we went to the chamber. It's hard for me to say that. I don't know why. Bed chamber. Okay. And in the story, we don't call it sex. Okay, we call it the husband-wife thing. And for some reason, after reading it and calling it the husband-wife thing, I think I kind of like saying that more than sex. Like it just sounds more funny in a way. But so they're in the bedroom, and if you watch any Chinese dramas, the bed, the chamber is they have this bed with these like high head frames, for high frames and curtains down, and I'm just standing there before him, he before me, and we're just like stripping. I'm not even embarrassed, okay? Cause I like have you ever been so hurt that you just like legit don't care anymore? And I felt like that's what was going on for me anyway, and for him too. He was pretty quiet. Um, Took our clothes off and we did the deed. And while we're doing the deed, I'm just like staring into air, staring at, you know, the wall everywhere but him, you know. And afterward, there was like no conversations. And to the next morning, like we didn't talk. The next morning is the real horror, the real embarrassment. Okay, because we went for breakfast. It was the four of us, the two couple, and old man Louis eating. And he pulled out two bed sheets. Okay, this is a public area with other people, okay, other locals and foreigners. The foreigners didn't understand at all what was going on, but the Chinese people, they were like appalled. Like, what the heck? Like, how is this happening in broad daylight, you know? Because what happened was these two bed sheets, one of them had blood on it and the other one didn't. So if you guys understand the context, basically it's her first time, so she was bleeding onto the sheets. And old man Louis had proof that she and her husband Sam did the deed. The other one, there was no blood stain. So that means that May and Vern either didn't do the deed or she wasn't a virgin. But old man Louis, of course, thought that, you know, they didn't do the deed. For real, I don't know what it was. May is really, you know, I never asked. I never asked her, so I don't know. And I don't want to ask her. So he metaphorically grabbed us by our hair and dragged us back to our parents' house. And then he was like, "This is what your daughter did or didn't do. Her contract, okay? You sold them to me, and they're not doing, you know, upholding your end of the bargain." And my dad was such a pussy. Like, he didn't say anything. He was just like, "Yes, yes, yes." And and I was just like, mm, you know, this is the man that I have to slouch around, you know. He's just to not emasculate him. I'm the stupid one. So, you know, he's calling me stupid so many times. I thought he was super smart and super smart, masculine, this figure that can, you know, provide and protect, all that. But he's like in front of another man and he's just like a coward, couldn't say a single thing. And old man Louis walked all through our house, and he went to our bedroom, and he opened a closet, and he took some of our clothes and he put it into the suitcase, you know, and the clothes that he doesn't like, he just threw it on the floor. And he zipped up the suitcase, and he was like, "I'm taking these as ransom. We're gonna see you in America, okay? Here are your papers, your visa, your passport and a booklet. There's a booklet that you have to study to go into America. Um, at that time, I thought it was a little bit weird because if this whole thing is legal, and why do I need to study anything? Can't I just tell them the truth and be able to enter America, like, legally, truthfully, honestly? Like, what is this paper document I have to study? Okay, so yeah, it was three things he gave them: the ticket, because they're going to America by ship, the visas, and the booklet. Okay, and then he left, and Sam was there, and he was like, "Sorry, sorry that this happened," and then he left as well. And I was just so surprised. I the word is not like surprised, but I'm just like confused how it even came to this. May was so so out of it that she was just in like the bathroom puking up a storm, and the only person she would let in was me, and the only person that can comfort and understand us is each other. She so I was there for her as much as I can be, but I legit cannot understand how it came to this. I I'm a I'm from a wealthy family, well educated. Like I buy new dresses and shoes every month. I didn't have to cook, clean, just study. And now I'm stuck in this situation. So this is the end of part one. Please follow and subscribe so you can get updates on if there's a if when there's an part two coming out. Second, I hope you guys enjoy my storytelling, and I will try to improve in the future. I'm sure there's lots of things to improve on, such as lighting, um, for example. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and please stay tuned for part two.